Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So first off, I want to thank everyone who had sent me birthday gifts. My birthday was last Thursday, and I got some wonderful gifts, but I am not going to make a video with my birthday haul in it because some of the gifts that I received were very, very personal gifts or personalized gifts. And if I'm going to show them, I want to show all my gifts, and those are ones that I don't want to or cannot show. So instead of just singling out just a few people and leaving the rest of them out, I decided not to show them. I did send personal thank yous out to everybody, but I want to publicly say thank you very much. It's very much appreciated, and they will be coming to the channel. Some of them that I color and things like that or use. So with that being said, today I am going to be coloring a picture by Molly Harrison. This is one of her grayscale pictures out of the book called A World of Fairies. I am going to be doing this with some budget markers. I'm going to be using the Aspire color. Most of you know that they had sent me their set of 80 markers for me to do a review on, and I loved them, especially for a budget style marker. Now, I got one of the earlier productions of them. They have since added in a lot more skin tones. They did a lot of adjustments to them, and I don't have the new set. I have the old set, but I know most of the colors are the same. They just changed out some of the skin tones, or added them in, I should say. As always, you guys, all the links to everything are going to be down in the description. This book is available on Amazon in book form. I got this as a PDF because I like printing out my pictures, because if I mess up, I just print them out again. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, so we're going to dive right in. Molly Harrison and her original artwork, if you look her up, she does a lot of watercolor, and she does them beautifully. So if you look at her grayscale, you can see where her watercolor marks are. And that's, you know, her creation of the background. So that's kind of what you're left with. So I'm going to do something today that I rarely ever do, and I'm going to start with the background. Now, if you guys have the Aspire markers, I will leave the numbers. Ooh, sorry about that. I will leave the numbers to all the markers and the colors that I used down in the description. If you don't and you want to follow along, I'm sure that you can get something close to it. So right now, I'm going to start out with this Pastel Violet. And I'm going to use the chisel end of it because it has a chisel and it has a bullet point. So what I'm going to do is all these lighter areas, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to color them in. Now, you guys know that I am not fluent in markers. There's still something that I am getting used to and I'm playing around with. I personally, and maybe that's because I'm so used to colored pencils, but I personally like to go in a circle motion. I feel that when I do blend them, they blend a little bit better. And I am going to be doing this in sections, just so that I can get to it before it completely dries. And that's the other thing that I was going to say. I'm coloring on this plastic clipboard here. Since it is plastic, I feel like the marker doesn't soak into the paper. It kind of sits on top of that plastic, and sometimes I get it to bleed back through. So I did add another piece of paper underneath this just to absorb some of that marker as I'm coloring along. Okay, so we're going to stop there. And so I'm going to take this color. This is Cool Grey. It's the Cool Grey number 4. Again, I'm going to take the chisel tip and I am going to do all these dark areas, going over the violet too. So this way it's not super bright. I just want it to be kind of a muted background. There's some leaves in here. I'm just going to go right over them. And if the marker sound bothers you guys, I am so sorry. You can go ahead and mute this and just watch. I know that some people don't like that sound. It doesn't bother me too much. So hopefully all of you guys had a wonderful holiday. Thanksgiving just passed. I'm still trying to catch up on everything. We had, Xander had a school play at school, or, well, of course at school. I just had school play. But he had a school play, a little Indian and Pilgrim one, which was really cute. So I went to that. And then Blaze started basketball. Schools here, you can't start basketball until the 5th grade. So he started basketball, so that's keeping me a little bit busy. Going to his games and things like that. So when I have time, I'm going to try to make some videos. Not to mention, you know, Christmas is coming up, and that is a long holiday for us. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to that pastel violet, and as you can see, it's just kind of, let me zoom in, you guys. I'm sorry. It's just kind of giving it a little bit of color. If it wants to zoom in, we'll see. So it's just giving it a little bit of color, and the gray kind of brings it back down. Now, I am going to leave it like this. Move this up just a little bit. I'm going to leave my background like this. Now, in those gray areas, if you wanted to, you can go back in with a darker gray and darken up some of the areas to make it pop out a little bit more. It's just all preference. For me, I just want it to be kind of there, but in the background, so to say. That's why I just wanted it kind of muted. And I kind of, I don't know, do it a little haphazardly, I guess you could say. Like I just throw color in wherever it looks good, or wherever I think that it's supposed to go. Ever right or wrong, it is whatever you want to make it. So I'm going to go back in with this gray again. I've been trying to catch up on Instagram, looking at what everybody's working on. Like I said, life has just been hectic. But I think that's everyone's life at times. You have things that come up and things going on. And it kind of, I don't want to say get in the way, but it kind of slows down other processes. Now, if I go over the edge here, I don't mind. Like all of hers has this thin frame, and I'll just put washi tape around it. So if I go over, it's not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and I'm probably going to speed up part of this process and come back to it. So then you guys can see the finished part. Now some of the areas are still kind of bright, so I'm going to go back over them with this gray and just dull it down just a little bit. And if I go over these branches and stuff, it doesn't bother me. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and keep going. Okay, let's keep going. Right now I'm going to work on this part here. So for that, I'm actually going to use 5 different markers. And we're going to start out with PB75. It's kind of, it says dark blue light is the color of it, but it really isn't. It's a really light blue. And the reason why I want to put the light blue down is because it acts as a base. So this way it's not totally white. I'm just going to put that down real light everywhere. I'm not worrying about it being perfect. Just kind of throwing it in to give it some color underneath, kind of like a base tone. And I'm going to do it up here too. I'm just not ready to do that yet. Okay, so I'm going to start out. They're all cool grays, and they're cool grays 9, 6, 4, and 2 are the 4 that I'm going to use. And I want to do it in each little section here. So with the darkest, which is the 9, I'm going to just go ahead and go in these really dark areas. And I'm going to work my way out, of course, from dark to light. And it's going to look a little bit funny at first, especially when you get over in this area here. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make just some kind of like almost a marbling effect. And she has a little bit in here. So I'm just going to kind of go off of that, make me some little lines. And all that'll be blended in a little while here. Okay, so we are going to move on to the number 6. And I am using the bullet nib on all of this just because they are small-ish areas. So we're going to go over the next. And I'm kind of following what she has laid out here. I tried a couple of her pictures, doing it my own way, but with her watercolor turned into grayscale, it's a little bit more difficult because I felt like my colors got a little bit more muddy. So I figured instead of doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and follow pretty much what she has here and use those as guidelines. You know, I always say that if you're a beginner colorist and, you know, you're not really sure where to put shadows, to try grayscale because it kind of guides you on where to put your stuff. So now I'm going to move on to the number 4. And again, you guys, I do circular motions. I don't know. I enjoy using markers because, of course, it's a little bit quicker than pencils. I just haven't perfected that skill yet. But hey, it's all a work in progress. All right, so I'm just going to fill in these areas here. And then we're going to go in with that lightest gray and we're going to cover the entire thing. I think I might need to order a new set of these. I use this Cool Grey number 4 a lot when I use these. Okay, so now we're going to go back over it with the CG2. And I'm going to go ahead and use the broad tip on this one because I'm going to go over the whole thing. And you'll see that it kind of, especially when it dries, because, you know, with markers, everything dries a little bit lighter. But it kind of just puts that blue in the background and kind of brings that grayish blue forward. Okay, so there is that. And I'm going to keep doing that up. Starting always with my darkest. I'm going to put some of these lines in here. And then I'm going to also do this little sunken in part while I'm at it. I have another video coming up soon. I found a new way that I like to store / present my finished, like my colored PDFs. And I wanted to share it with you guys because for me, it's just better. I find myself having notebooks for everything. And after a while, like my shelf is full of notebooks, full of notes. And so I found a different method that just works for my style. And all of my colored PDFs go in there. Well, except for the ones, of course, that I give away or that friends were like, oh, I really like that one, you know, and I'll just send them to them. But the ones that I keep, is what I'm talking about. It's the new system that I came up with that is really working out great. And this picture will go in there too as soon as I'm completely finished with it. Now I didn't do this area here. I got to jump back. I missed that. Okay, and then again with that very light gray going over everything. I'll come back over here real quick. And what I'm going to do, and hopefully it doesn't mess it up too bad because I forgot to put that bluish color over here. I'm going to see what happens if I add it on top. And if it doesn't work out, well, that's okay too. Well, that's not horrible. Okay, let me do this section here. Now I'm going to omit the darkest gray and just go the 3 colors from there. And really, you guys, this, you know, coloring with markers, it's super fun because you get faster results. Now, I like colored pencils because I don't mind going a little bit slower, but I am enjoying these markers a lot. And I said that in my review video of these, that when it comes to markers, I really do enjoy these. Okay, so now I'm just laying this blue color up there. And then with my darkest, I'm going to go right here behind this. That's not my darkest. Okay, so with my darkest, I'm going to go right here behind her hand. And then I'm going to go right along the back and the side there. Go like this. Where she kind of has her dark areas. And I'm just going to do a little bit of this because mainly when the light hits the top there, it stays pretty light. See, this is like the only one that's really loud on sound. So I think It's going to be mine that runs out the fastest. Okay, cover that all up with that lightest. And there we go. So that's how I'm going to do my stone pillar, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so from there, I'm going to move on to this skirt part. So for that, I'm going to do it purple. I picked out 3 purples that I like. So my darkest is my deep violet. My middle color is light violet, and my lightest is going to be lavender. So I'm going to start down here because I'm going to try to do it in sections again. So I'm just kind of following these really dark lines. And some grayscale is a lot lighter than others, and so when it's kind of light, you can play around with it more and put in your own shadows, your own highlights, things like that. But with this, it's, it's dark because, again, it's watercolored. That was made into grayscale. And with watercolor, most of the time you have tons and tons of different, colors going into it. I think I'm going to stop there. And so I'm sure when they copy it, however they do that, whether they scan it in or, whatever their process is, I'm sure it doesn't pick up exactly the lights and the darks of the watercolor. So it just turns it, this more of a gray, I guess you can say. To me, it kind of reminds me of newsprint, the way that it comes out in the darkness of it. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my lavender and, of course, go over all of it. Okay. Back to the dark color here. Bring that out just a little bit more. And the other great thing about grayscale is if you didn't want to do all this and pick out your dark, your medium, your light, and kind of get, let's say, fancy with it, and you just want to do a picture that's, stress-free, just color over it with one color, with all of these, with this grayscale and all these darks and lights already laid out for you. It'll go and it'll shade itself with, just using one color. So don't think that you have to use all of these colors. Do whatever makes you happy. I have to keep looking at these to see which one's which. For some reason, I always pick up the lavender for the middle color, and I have to keep looking at it. If you guys hear Xander, I hear him in there rustling around a little bit. And if most of you don't know, my art room here is connected to my actual bedroom, and he is sleeping in my bedroom tonight. He hasn't been feeling too good. He's had stomach issues now for quite a while, and we're getting that checked out. We go and see the GI specialist. But he wasn't feeling too good tonight, but he wasn't in a lot of pain like he usually is. So I let him camp out with me tonight just so I can keep an eye on him. And I hear him in there kind of rustling around. Ricky's at work, so it's not like all three of us are in the bed together, trying to smush in that area. Okay, so we're going to move on to the top of the dress here. The light is the dark. So again, just following these really dark lines. I'm going to kind of bring these out just a little bit. And I'm sure that my hand is all in the way and you guys can't even see what I'm doing. Trying here, guys. I'm trying. Okay, I'm going to darken this up here, this corner. See, again, I pick up the lavender. All right. It's so cold here. I don't know about the weather where you guys are, but it's so cold here. We've had the heat going on for a while now, and the kids always have to bundle up in their boots and snow pants. We've been getting snow, and it's been on and off with the weather. Like I said before, we had snow on Halloween, so the kids did trick or treat in snow this year. And it's been it snows for like a week, and then the sun comes out and melts it all, and then it starts snowing again, and it's never a guarantee. So we always make sure that the kids are bundled up. I want to make this light line here just a little smaller because I feel like it's really big. Okay, so easy peasy lemon squeezy, skirt is done. Now the skin is where I got hung up at, because in the set that I got, as I said before, the new set has, I heard that it has better skin tones. This set, the skin tones are either really orange or kind of pink. So I picked kind of a middle shade, and it's a little orangey to my taste, but it works. It's not so bad once it dries. I am going to use this burnt sienna though. I'm only using 2, maybe 3 colors for this skin. So I'm just going to go real light with this burnt sienna. And then I'm going to take this, it's called Skin White. So I'm just going to take that and go over everything. And if you guys can see, it's a little orangey. But when it dries, white as orange. Okay. And we're just going to keep doing this process. Because the brown's so dark, I'd like to go over it with that peachy, or skin white, sorry, skin white, kind of quickly. And if I have to, I'll go in with the Colorless Blender, because to me, a colorless, the blender that comes with markers, I feel like it's not really a blender. It's more like an eraser, kind of. It won't erase all the mistakes, but it kind of gives you where it kind of recedes the rest of the color. And I'll show you what I mean, because I went a little dark there. Like it just kind of pushes the rest of the color out a little bit. So I got, oh, it's a long reach. Okay, so here's a colorless blender, and you can see that it's kind of, I hope you guys can see, it's kind of really brown up here. So I'm just going to lightly go over that, and it just dulls it down and pushes it back a little bit. And what I actually think I'm going to try is if I go over all of this skin real quick, who knows, you guys, I'm just trying this out. It might a little, I don't know. It's like I said, it's pretty orange, but hey, she's a fairy, so she could be any color. I could have made her blue if I wanted to. I just got to remember now to go in with that colorless blender. Since I did it over here, I might as well do here. See, that doesn't look as orange. Well, we'll see. I might have to go back over that part so it doesn't look really out of place. Now we're just going to do her face. Do a little bit by her eye, and the face is so small it's hard to get details. And I could have, and you guys can too, you know, if the marker set that you want, do that part in pencil. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, so now I'm going to go, oh wait, let me do this part. This blender part. I'm going to add a little more of the skin white here because it just doesn't look the same. Okay, yeah, I mean, go in with colored pencil and do your thing. Now I'm going to take some of this powder pink and where her like blush line is or whatever. This is just a really, it's about the same peachy color. It's just a little bit more pink. I'm going to go over it with that just because it kind of looks like once you color over that section, it kind of reminds me of like a dirt look. And we don't want that. Okay, so put all that away. Look, we're almost done with this picture. We got some hair, we got the wings, and then I want to do these branches and these leaves. Oh, before I put that away, let's do her waist thing here. I'm just going to go in with the lightest color that I used here, this lavender. Make sure, and I'm going to go over the whole thing. And then once it dries, it does have some lines on it, and then once it dries, I'm going to go back over it. One of the Pentel Hybrid pens. I'm going to also do that on the wings. Okay, so for the hair, I just picked out two colors. I picked out Ice Blue and Pastel Blue, so B65 and B67. And the hair on this, they're such small strands that I can't really do like the flicking or things like that. So I just kind of go in and start with the dark. And I try to do each strand if I can, but that is quite hard. So if I have to, I just go like the dark on the ends and then I put the light over it just to give it a little bit of contrast. Even though these two blues look almost identical. It's just enough, but you guys can always change it or whatever hair color you want to do. So like here, I'm just going to kind of go at the top and then bring it up. Like that. Go down this long section. That's the one thing about Molly Harrison's pictures is she does these long, thin lines of hair. And you can see like where they all come out the sides. call them like flyaways. So all I do is I'm going to take my lightest blue and kind of bring them out just enough so you know that they're there. Okay. Finish this section up real quick. I should just leave these open. It's just a habit. So I can't tell you how many times I've left them open, and I get sidetracked, or the kids need me, and I come back and I realize that I've laid them on my desk and they're wide open, and they have started to dry a little bit. So I got into the habit of trying to always close them. Okay, so her hair is done. Now for the wings, I was deciding what color to use, and I decided to go these like yellowish green kind of colors, and I don't know how well it's going to be or look, but it doesn't matter because we're just having fun. So what I picked out is this bronze green for the darkest, pale green for the lightest, and cream. But the cream in this is more on the yellow side than it is on the whiter side. So let's do one section of the wing at a time. I'm just going to kind of turn this a little bit. Now in here where all these hairs, I'm just going to kind of touch it with this dark green. And I'm not going to come back to it. I'm just going to leave it like that. So normally when my method of markers is, and it's the same that I do with pencils, is I go back over everything, especially with my lightest color. And maybe that's the wrong way to do it, but I'm so used to doing it with pencils that it works for me. And I feel like it blends it. All right, so now we're going to go in with this pale green. And we're going to do it on all of these grayer areas. Leaving those lights for the cream color. Okay, and then I'm just going to go right over, I need to take this off of there, right over everything with this cream. And I brought the cream in just to bring a little bit of that yellow feel, because I didn't want the wings to just be a stark green. And as you can see, they are alcohol markers, so they do bleed through. So I was talking to somebody the other day, one of my subscribers, and this is what kind of sparked this video with budget-friendly markers, because they were under the impression had to have Copics in order to color properly with alcohol markers. And, you know, they couldn't afford them and stuff like that, and which I totally understand. Copics are so expensive. And so, you know, I was trying to explain that there's so, you know, pencils and everything, there's budget. lines of all of it. And like Prismacolors, now you guys know Prismacolors are my go-to pencil. Like that's my love. But there are budget-friendly pencils like my Xenas. I love my Xenas for a budget-friendly pencil. If I can talk tonight. I love them. And so I was trying to explain to the subscriber that you don't need Copics to have fun, because coloring is supposed to be about fun. And if you're doing it as a hobby and something to just relax you or as therapy, because I know I started coloring because of my depression and my anxiety. So if that's what you're using the hobby for, you don't need to go out and you don't need to buy Copics in order to do an alcohol marker picture. And so that's something that I wanted to kind of put out there. And I know that I've been guilty of it too. On my channel, I used some products that are costly. And it's not because you guys have to buy them. It's what I have and I want to show you guys. It doesn't mean that they are any better or worse than what you can afford. I try to give all my supplies love. And so I do alternate them. Okay. One more section here. I don't even know if you can really see this green that I'm outlining all here. But to me, I have to do it because if I don't do it, I'll know that it's not there. Some of those are really, really tiny spaces. Hopefully my head hasn't been getting in your guys' way. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the cream and color all that in. Okay, so that is done. Now on these branches down here, you guys can just leave them as is because it's kind of like the background of it. So it's like that shadowy trees and branches that sit behind something. For me, I'm going to go in with just two colors. I'm going to use Natural Oak and this brown gray. It's like a light tan. Because you can see that it's kind of dark and there is some white areas. So all I'm going to do is kind of take this dark, what did I say it was, Natural Oak. And I'm just going to kind of do these dark areas and the branches where they kind of peek out. And you don't have to do this step. This is all stuff that you can skip right over and just leave it as a background. I'm going to have to do this section too. I mean, you could have put a third color in there, like that, maybe that burnt sienna that I used on her skin. But to me, they're just so little that two colors suffice for my liking. Okay, and then I'm just going to take this. Now, the one thing that, and I kind of played around a little bit, the one thing that I couldn't figure out was the leaves. And the reason for that is because they are so dark already. So I decided to not color over them with marker. Okay, so that side's done. And you don't have to do anything. If you don't want to, you can just leave the leaves however you want. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my hybrid and I'm going to go over those leaves to kind of give it that fairy-ish feel, you know, a little bit of pop, some shininess. I tried, I also have the glitter Posca pens, and I tried it with those, and they just didn't give me enough of the glitter effect that I wanted. And of course, you guys probably aren't going to see much of it on camera. I'll try to tilt the page a little bit so you guys can see. But up close, you do get that glittery feel. Okay. And these branches, they're super quick because they're so small. And if you guys do color this picture with some markers, tag me in it on Instagram. I'd love to see this picture done in your way, whatever colors you want, or if you followed my color scheme. I always like seeing the differences when people, you know, color the same picture. I just think that it's really a lot of fun to see how people color it or how they perceive it a little bit different. Okay, so I am using, this is the gold Pentel, they're hybrid metallic pens, and a lot of them are like double colors. I think I have one here. Nope, that's just a silver. The silver and gold are just, you know, silver and gold. But here, like this one, and it tells you on there, this one is violet and metallic blue. So as you move it, you can see the purple. Oh, God, that hurts. And you can see the blue. Okay, but today I'm going to use this gold. And I'm going to come in, and the first thing I'm going to do are these lines on her waistband here. And I don't know if you guys can see how shiny that is or not. Okay, so then this is what I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do all the leaves in. And the reason for that is, like I said before, it's just to give it a little bit of that shininess, because I could not figure out what to do with these leaves since I knew, oh, I seen something I missed. Since I knew that the marker really wasn't going to show up. So it's kind of like, I'm just going to leave them black, or I'm going to do some kind of bright gel pen or something over them. And then I decided to go ahead and do them all this gold color. So if you guys do this picture and you do it differently, I'd love to see. I was thinking about doing them white with white, like a white gel pen, whether I just color them in or just do outlines around them. And I played with that idea and I kind of tested it out, and I liked it, but it didn't give me that pop of color that I wanted. Trying to turn this so I don't put my hand over there, because these are a little juicier and they take a little bit longer to dry. Kids will be out for Christmas break soon, so I don't know how much recording I'll get done then. I'm going to try to do quite a bit of recording this week and next week, and then I'll just schedule them out and they will release on their scheduled date. And, you know, if I followed the rules or the suggestions and I worked from, you know, left to right, I wouldn't have to turn my page every which way. But I dare to be different. I think it should be dry now. You know, when I first decided to do these in gold, I'm like, oh, it's going to take me so long. But really, this process is going pretty quick. It's not taking me quite as long as I thought it would. Oh, I've been having so much fun watercoloring. I am currently working on some poinsettias. And they're turning out okay. One of them was a little bit more on the magenta side, but hey, it's okay. All right. But they are pretty shiny. So the last thing, the last thing that I'm going to do on this picture, try and make my line here, so I don't like that, is I'm going to take this gel pen and I am just going to, see, there I go, starting on the right side again. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to outline the wings to kind of tie it all in together. Anybody else hold their breath? Like, I find myself holding my breath a lot when I outline, or when I'm doing like gel pen work, or even if I pull out like my fine tech paints and I'm just trying to add some highlights or just some gold or silver or whatever color I'm using, accents, I hold my breath all the time. And I just found myself doing that. So I want to know if anybody else does it. Okay, so can you see that at all? It's getting kind of shiny there right around the wings. And I've been trying to get in this habit, and it's kind of difficult for me right now, but I've been trying to get into the habit of, when I do fine work like this, to use my whole arm instead of doing like these little choppy motions. So this way I have one fluid motion. Yeah, well, that's still a work in progress. Okay, the home stretch here. And I think that we can call that done. I can do my little initials here. And I can put the date. It is now the 8th. So I put 12, 8, still in 19. Okay, and there we go. I don't know if you guys can see all that pretty goldness or not. I hope you can. But anyway, so that is my completed pick of this Molly Harrison page out of her book, once again, A World of Fairies. Her pictures are really easy to do because there's not a lot of detail, there's not a lot going on, and like I said, she has done a lot of the work for you, so it's just pretty much check out where the darks and the lights are and in. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave me some comments down below, and I will see you guys all next time. Love to you all, and happy holidays. Bye.